Welcome back to another episode of Cesar's Modern Life. This is episode 8, and this week I have my cousin. He's on the show. He's been on the show, the Rodriguez Show, like years ago. His name's Ricardo. How's it going, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'm making the return.
The return, yeah, years ago, man. It was when we were doing the -0 stuff. That was when you were on the show.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And it seems like such a long time ago. So it's my cousin, and we work together. Also, we don't have to talk about the company, so we can be a little bit more open about like the work of it. So how you been, man? How have you been in these last 2 years? Like a lot of stuff has happened, right?
I mean, before COVID, everything was good, you know. Recently got married. Yeah. A year this September. So last September 2019.
You got married.
I got married. And then I had my son April 7th. So he's gonna be 2 next April. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, that's basically it.
It's a big shift in life.
Yeah. Trying to balance all that work and school, but we're making it happen. So.
And you also became like the manager of the store that you work at.
Yeah.
The person in charge of your job.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. But
was that
based on everything else going on? I think that was the least of the
least of the shift.
Yeah. Or that was the easiest to kind of get used to, or kind of dive in and just take care of, you know. Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about the easy stuff first. So we're both managers in the retail industry and the food service industry. What have you learned about people? We don't have to get like harsh about it, but what have you learned about people that you've been running it for a while?
People based on employees,
either one.
Okay.
Either one.
Well, I mean, on employees, something I didn't know, and something I'm sure you knew, the percentage. I think it's 10, 60, 30, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Where you have the top 10 is your leaders. Mm-hmm. The bottom 60 are the followers, and then the 30 are the slackers.
Yeah.
And at first, I mean, I would hear it from people, and I would kind of put it together. Yeah. But it's like, I'm just doing my job. I'm just kind of going with the flow. Yeah. So then I started thinking, am I the follower or the leader? But I didn't really quite see it, you know? Yeah. Until you're the one running the show. Yeah. Then that's when you start seeing it, and it's like, wow, like that's really true. That's really something that happens, and you could clearly see it.
Yeah, so let's break that down. So for people that don't know what it is, so it's like you said, is it top 10?
Top 10.
So top 10, that's your like the people that strive to be like the best, and those are people you never have any issues with. And then the next percentage, how much is that?
It's 60%. The
60% are people that you can work with to get to that 10, where it's like you're people that are putting effort, that are trying to build up, and they have the potential. And then the last percentage of 30, right? 30 is just the people that are not that great, and they're trying to bring everybody down. And that's the thing that, like, you think that the first two exist. You're like, oh, okay. But the fact that they'll try to get everybody to their level is something that I never expected.
Yeah. Well, and then also the fact that sometimes they bounce up. Yeah. They're in the 60 category, which is the followers, or that's what I call it, the followers. Yeah. And then they jump back into the slackers. And it's like for 2-3 months, you're like, oh, follower. And it looks like they're going up. Yeah. And one day we'll just bring them back there. Yeah. And it's
true.
That's the craziest based on employees and the staff. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's one of the things that, like you said, when I shifted into this position, I was able to just see it, and it's like, wow, like, damn, he was right. Like, you know, he told me it was gonna be like that. And it's clear.
So was it easy? So you said it was the easiest thing to get into was the shifting from being just a shift leader.
Well, I feel like just based on the person that was there before, the manager before, the way he brought me in, and like kind of he brought me in before I was actually going to take the position. Mm-hmm. So by the time that he was like, all right, well, I'm out of here. The floor is yours. I was kind of familiar with everything. Yeah. I mean, I would still need help with the few things, but like the basics, the main parts, it was obvious. Like, all right, well, I think I got this. It was just like the the small little tweaks that it's like you don't really train for. You got to act on the spot. Yeah, that's where I kind of needed help. But I mean, for that, you kind of learn as you go.
Yeah, and you have like a big support system anyway.
Yeah. So
and that was the same in my situation. I kind of had the same thing where I was running it as the assistant, and then Carla, my wife, she left, so then it was all by myself. And then it was like, oh, well, I have everybody that I can ask questions to, but I already have that firm base.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was an easy transition.
I mean, and also it's a co-managing position, so I have somebody back it up.
Yeah,
or blame, whichever one it is.
It's true. It's a different dynamic, and then especially now that was when it was normal. Now that it's coronavirus times, it's a whole different. People are different now. The employees are the same, but like the public,
in a way,
yeah.
Well, I feel like in a way you have the like the percentage that we went, like the categories that we said. Yeah. But what I found it hard, I mean, maybe you did too. It's that leader, those 10% were scared about the virus. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, I don't feel comfortable working.
Yeah.
So that's when it's like you start to kind of not panic, but you're in like, all right, well, I got an issue now because all my top employees are left.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the top of the followers are going to go into the 10%.
Yeah.
But that means that a lot might just fall.
Yeah.
So that was hard, but I mean, that this happened March, April.
Yeah.
Now we're in August, so now I'm all better. But it was definitely the first 2-3 weeks. I mean, you saw it was kind of shaky. It was kind of hard.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, I mean, we've been doing it for a while. It's one of those things you just start doing it, and you're like, wow, I'm the person in charge now.
Yeah.
And I never thought like, oh, I'm ready for this. It just kind of happens.
Yeah. Well, and then even now, it's like a lot of times, like, you know, in meetings, we're having meetings, and it's like, yeah, you know, you got to tell them what to do. You're the boss.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, it's like, yeah, I am. 6-8 months ago, I wasn't. So it's kind of hard. Yeah. It's like, but you got to change the state of mind and be like, all right, well, I gotta take charge and do
take responsibility.
Yeah. And then as far as customers, that's the one where it's like, I don't know how easy or clear could you make it seem to a customer that you're doing something?
Yeah.
It's like there's no other. We try to tell you black and white.
Yeah.
But you still have trouble understanding.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know what to do. It's like, I don't know, with so many things, it was like if we get into a subject like the mask thing.
Yeah.
You know, it was like just wear the mask.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to do it. I'm being enforced to tell you to do it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then if you don't want to, just don't make a big deal. You know?
Just don't do it. 'Cause it's like, I don't know. It's always been a thing where it's like businesses have the right to refuse service, but even then, it's not even up to the businesses, it's to the government saying, hey, you can't operate if people are not wearing masks inside your building.
And it's like, as much as we try to help, if you're not wearing a mask, we'll try to make it work.
Yeah.
You're still going to get mad about it. Like, I'm doing this for you.
Yeah. And it's true. We don't even turn people away. We try to work with them. So,
and I feel like that's how most places are. Like, I forgot my mask in the car. Oh, well, don't worry. I got one for you. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, well, I don't want to wear it. Well, just say that in the first place, and we can go from there. Why are you making things so complicated?
Yeah, because people do that. They're like, "Oh, I forgot my mask," and then you're like, because they don't want to come out and say like, "I don't want to wear it."
Yeah, I don't want to wear it. But it's like, I'd rather have you do that, and then, all right, well, this is going to be that kind of conversation or confrontation. I'll get ready to handle it that way instead of, oh, I forgot in my car. Oh, well, I have one for you, and you think you're. I mean, in my eyes and in a lot of other people's eyes, you're being helpful. It's like, oh, I got you. I got a mask. You could come in and take care, you know? But they're like, no, I don't want to wear a mask. Well, it's like, oh, well.
You know what it's going to be like. Like, you know what you're walking into when you say that stuff. So, but I mean, luckily it's cut down, right? It's not as much.
Oh, no, definitely. Yeah. It's, well, I mean, I guess it's a thing that we all, I mean, especially if you worked in retail or grocery stores or just if you were working in this time, it's basically now something that you need to do. Mm-hmm. It's not like I got to get used to it. Most of us already got used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that small percentage that was at home now or not coming out, that's like, oh, well, I still have to get used to it. It's like, I've been doing this for months.
Yeah, it's been 6 months now, or 4 or 5, whatever it's been. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to probably be wearing the mask at work for a long time.
Well, and then
even beyond this.
I was reading this article, I forget from where they were like, could we please, doctors, if somebody's sick for whatever reason, just write it on their prescription. They need to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And that way they could go and they get a mask. And it's like, all right, if you're coughing or something, just put it on.
Put a mask on.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's funny because, I mean, not to be picking on a specific race or something, but a lot of Asian people, they, I see them in Laguna come in with a mask. Even before this happened, you know?
Yeah.
And at first, you're actually kind of looking like, what the hell? What's wrong with them? You know, like, what's going on? But eventually, little by little, I mean, now it's like, hey, like,
they were right the whole time.
They were ready for it. They're top of the game.
Yeah. I think that's kind of how I got lucky to not get it on the way back from Thailand at the beginning of this year, because everybody was wearing it. And this was January. Over there, everybody was already wearing masks because they're like, oh, it's coronavirus. And they're already wearing masks for like a common cold.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're already thinking a step ahead.
Yeah.
When it's like, here, we're worried about wearing it. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, like I remember when this whole thing started, you were wearing a mask and people would look at you weird. But then again, last year, like I tell you, when I saw this customer walk in and I'm like, wearing a mask, I looked at him weird, you know? But now it's like, no, we need to do that. We for sure need to do that.
Yeah. But it's going to be a whole different world even after this. So.
Oh, yeah.
So speaking of a whole different world, you know, the other major event that happened last year, other than, was you having a kid. So how was that? How was the reaction, you know, and how did that all happen?
Well, we all know how to happen.
I know. Well, I don't mean that. I know how that happened. But it was like, okay, we're
well, the thing is that even to the point where she told me, hey, we're expecting. Yeah. It was like, okay, like it didn't hit me, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was happy. I was excited. Yeah. But not how I would expect it to be. Like, you know, it's like you see those videos on like social media and it's like, hey, we're expecting, or they do something, they record it, and the dad's excited and like happy. Like, I didn't feel that way. Yeah. And at first I was like, what the hell? Yeah. Like, do I really like her? Yeah. No. But, I was like, whoa. but no, it was just weird because shout out Jasmine. Shout out Jasmine and my wife. No, but yeah, it was weird because obviously having conversations with my dad, with my father-in-law, and just talking about it, like, yeah, like it's gonna change your life, this and that. Yeah. But it's like all I was seeing is the baby growing inside, you know. I wasn't ready. Yeah. So it was weird. I mean, not weird, but it was like, okay, I kind of just kept living my life like I would have, and I wish I didn't. Yeah. Because I could have, save a little extra or whatever, you know. Yeah.
But before we move on, I just want to clarify. When I said how did that happen, I meant like, what was your thought process?
No, I know.
It wasn't like, what? How did that work? So you didn't really change anything before you had.
No. I started. I think after the baby shower. Yeah. That was when I was like, all right. It was kind of hitting me a little more. It's like the fact of every day constantly waking up and seeing baby stuff in the room was like, oh well,
there's gonna be a baby.
Yeah, it's time. You know, it's like the day that I woke up and instead of going to turn on my PlayStation or whatever, it was like, well, I gotta open the crib. I gotta put it apart and stuff like that. That was when I was like, yeah, like this is actually gonna happen. But still, I wasn't like, come on, like be here, like, you know. Yeah. And then it wasn't the day till she actually the day it started hitting me is one day I was at work, and it was the worst day that could have happened at work. It was just hard customers, dealing with that. I'm getting phone calls from her. It's like, hey, like I feel really bad, I think I'm gonna go to the hospital. And I'm like, all right, well, let me know. Okay, I'm going to the hospital. So she went to the hospital and didn't reply for 3 hours.
Oh shit!
So how would you think I would feel? It's like, all right, well, it's time. Yeah. That's when my heart started racing. It's like, all right, well, I got to deal with work because again, I'm managing now. Yeah. You know, and it's like, well, I got to make it happen. Well, I think that was around the transition, but I was basically he pushed us to take care of the store.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Saturday. We all know Sundays don't open on Sundays. I forgot to get change.
Yeah. Banks don't open on Sundays.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, well, we have X amount of money where there's no way we're gonna make it.
Yeah.
And I look at my phone and I remembered I gotta go to the bank. I look at my phone and it's 4.
Yeah.
The bank closed at 4.
Oh, so, damn.
You know? And I'm like, all right, well, I was like, you know what? I need to take care of this first.
Yeah.
So I gave her a call. She didn't answer. So then I gave the manager a call. I'm like, hey, this is going on. I'm having a rough day. I'll take care of it. Yeah. Luckily, there is one bank open on Sundays close by. Yeah. So I went and got the change, took it to work, and that was that. When I come back, she's like, I'm starting to feel bad. And then I was supposed to work the next Monday and I was off that Tuesday.
Yeah.
So Sunday I had off, and that night, I think it was for some reason, I don't know, for some reason, both of her parents didn't work that day.
Yeah. And
she's like, hey, let's go on a walk in the morning. This is the next day after I forgot to change. So I had just taken care of a really bad situation that happened because this my son was popping out, you know?
Yeah.
And then that Monday, I'm taking a shower and I come out. It's like, hey, let's go on a walk. Well, before I got in the shower, I'm like, hey, let's go on a walk. So I come out, no one's home. What the hell? So they come back from the walk. They walk without me. And she's like, hey, I think my water broke.
Oh,
but
shit.
It wasn't like the normal, it's the first time I go through this. So I don't know what a water broke. It's supposed to. So so I'm like, no, it can't be, because I'm expecting like, you know, a bunch of water, you know, but it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
So then she's like, no, I think my water broke. So her mom says, yeah, like, I think it's time.
Yeah.
So we go to the doctors. I call work. Yeah, I can't be there. Like, yeah, don't worry about it. Go take care of that. And we're there for that whole day. She's like, yeah, you're going into labor. When you say to a guy, yeah, your wife is going into labor, you expect, oh, this guy's coming out right now.
Yeah.
No, he didn't come out till the next day.
So it was like a lot of just pushing, right?
Well, no, the thing is that apparently her water didn't break all the way. It was just like a tiny rip. So she was leaking. The water was, but they had to break it or they had to wait till.
Yeah.
Long story short, it didn't take till that night around 10 p.m. till where she started actually pushing.
Okay.
It was actually better than I expected. Yeah. I didn't faint or anything, but
yeah, because no matter what, that sight is a sight to behold. That whole thing happening.
Well, yeah, and then I think that's when because I've had other friends that had babies. So I was talking to him and just kind of like telling me what to expect and stuff like that, you know. One of the things, one of my friends, and I remember clearly, he's like, whatever you do not make her mad when that's going on, because then everything's going to be on you. It's going to be your fault. And she's, you know, so I try to stay quiet and stuff like that. But just seeing the process and what she went through was like, this is what we're going through this whole time. This whole 8 months of your pregnancy. This is what you were going through. This is the worst part. When I was calm, doing my own thing, that's when I was like, wow. Yeah. Like, that's when I say, now I should have taken care of things before.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And obviously, when the baby comes out, that's when I was like in shock.
Yeah.
It's like, so they take out the baby, clean it, put it in give it to the mom. The mom has her time. And that time, it's like, you can imagine doctors running around cleaning blood and doing everything. Yeah. And I'm just standing there, blank look on my face, staring at them.
Yeah.
Because it was like, wow, like it's finally hitting me.
Yeah.
You know? Even when the nurse then took him for him, they go weigh him, they take all the measurements and all that. Then they hand it to me. I'm holding it and I'm like, I don't know how to react. I don't know how to hold a baby. I don't know. It was just weird new thing that I had to get used to. Yeah. And it was like the fact that it's like, because you know, you have a lot of people or that when you're gonna be a dad, you're like, you see a baby, it's like, hey, let me hold him.
Yeah.
Let me get a feel of it because I'm gonna be doing this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Or for X amount of time, you know? Yeah. So, but I wasn't that. I was like, you know what? Like, even her family would be like, hey, because he has two cousins that are they were born in December, so 5 months older than him. Mm-hmm. And the parents were like, hey, hold him. It's like, hell no, I'm gonna wait till my baby. I don't want to hold him. You know, let me enjoy this time.
Yeah.
But it's like now thinking back, it's like I should have gotten used to it because the first month or two, it was like weird, like you got to get used to it. And it's like, all right, well, the baby's comfortable, but I'm not. Yeah. But I don't want to move because I don't want to wake him up. And he's so little that it's like
so fragile. Like
so it was definitely life changing for sure.
Yeah.
And then also the fact that it's like seeing what my wife went through.
Yeah.
And then still want another one? It's like, what? What's going on? No, but it's
gotta be worth it. It's worth it.
No, yeah. It's
worth it.
Well, and then also it's like my dad told me, he's like, you'll be the happiest when he's born.
Yeah.
Like when he's born till when he's like actually going to school and be like, I want to go to school. That time frame, you're gonna be the happiest because all he wants is you guys.
Yeah.
You know? And obviously at first 3 months he can't talk, he doesn't do anything, you know. So but now that he's a year and a half, that's what it is. It's like he'll come up to me and like start tapping the floor to sit. It's like, I don't want to sit on the floor. And then he'll be like, no. And I'm like, no, I don't want to sit on the floor. Come sit up here. And then he'll be like, no. And he'll keep tapping. And it's like, all right, well, I got to go sit on the floor with you, you know? And it's true because they're like, I'm sure, and I hope you go through it. When the baby's going to be born, they're going to tell you, you got to try to adjust your time to them. Mm-hmm. Because there's no them adjusting to you. I mean, sleeping time and all that, but everything else is going to be their boss, you know? Yeah. And at first I was like, come on, a baby going to tell me what to do. And now I'll be watching a movie and no, he wants to watch a show and I got to watch the show with him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
And do you control what he watches? Like it's the show that you picked, or is it like...
Well, he has like learning shows like Baby Bum and all those. Yeah. That I'll be at work and now it's just nursery rhymes. So I'll be at work and I'll be singing them in my head because it's been a year.
Because I have this fantasy where I want to just control like every single thing that they watch, so they only watch stuff that I like. So it's never gonna be a problem. Like, oh well, I like the Rugrats, so that's what you're gonna watch.
Well, yeah, I put a lot of like old movies. Like one of my favorite movies was Lion King, and I put it on, and he likes it and stuff like that.
Out. But then 100 times in a row.
That's the thing. It's like Lion King and Toy Story. He loves Toy Story, and Toy Story is one of my favorite movies too. You know, and it's like by the time that you realize I'm in the Toy Story 3. What am I doing? I did this yesterday. Like I watched 3 movies in a row, you know? Yeah. And it's like, it does get repetitive, but honestly, you learn to like it. And it's like, well, I rather deal with this than anything else.
Yeah. It's a good problem to have.
But
wants you to watch movies.
Yeah. It's like, all right, you pick the movie again. All right, no problem. Don't worry about it. I mean, I'd rather choose that than watch a chick flick with my wife, you know? For sure.
So like you do look at the world differently, obviously, after having a kid. Do you feel, because I feel like, speaking a little bit more personally with us, you went through a level of change in maturity before that. Like you were already kind of a dad before you were a dad.
Okay,
do you feel like that?
Not really. Are you talking more in like a responsible way or like a...
Well, because I feel like at a certain point there was a shift in maturity where you kind of surpassed, because you're younger than me. You surpassed, because I was still into, I'm going to go out and do this, like party and do this, and then you weren't. And even if it wasn't, you still did that stuff, but it wasn't like we did it together as much. But it was like a shift, and you were a little more serious. Do you think that? Was it just being in a relationship for a while, or?
I mean, I think that, but I think honestly, mainly it was in my friend group.
Yeah.
There was a time where it's like, all right, well, a lot of my friends were out partying, doing X amount of things. Mm-hmm. When it's like, all right, well, I enjoy going out and doing this amount of things.
Yeah.
Drinking is fine, but they were taking it to the next level where it's like, do I want that, or you know? And I felt like when I started pushing off and I started hanging out with the people I do now, it was like, well, they're doing this stuff, still having fun. Yeah. Opposed to when I look at the other thing, it's like, all right, well, they would go out, spend $300 every time they went out. And it's like, well, do I really want that? Yeah. You know? Not saying that, because we did go out and stuff. Well, I'm not saying that you were doing that, but I
don't think you're even talking about me specifically.
No, yeah. But definitely. I feel like at some time the friends that I was hanging with a lot shifted to a whole different party, we could say. Yeah. To when that was like, all right, well, I was with them once and woke up the next day and was like, I spent $400. Damn. Like, that's not cool.
That's not cool. You know? Yeah. Where it's like too much.
Yeah, you know, and then when it's like, all right, well, you want to come out next weekend? Yeah, I'll see. And then I went out, but obviously I was in, let's just go do it. I was a little more careful, you know, and the next day is like, hey, talking to somebody else, hey, like, how'd it go? It's like, well, I spent like $350. I spent $70, which is like still a lot if you're going out, you know?
Yeah. So that's like a standard Saturday, like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But it's like $70 to $400 before. Yeah. And this guy did, I'm sure he did $350 the day before, $350 this time. Yeah. You're talking about that could be somebody's paycheck in 2 weeks. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know if I want that. Started hanging out with this group, which was like, hey, let's hang out more of like a because I felt like that was going through when the -0 was going on. Mm-hmm. So it was like, Javier was like, you know what, let's try to make a business, start a business. And that was when it was like, all right, my whole shift was like, you know, partying could just hold off for a bit. Yeah. Focus on this. And yeah, I think that was like a little more responsibility and then everything went on, obviously being in a relationship where it's like, all right, I have to focus on this a good amount of time, a day. So that with the new people that I was surrounded with was kind of like the change. Yeah. And because a lot of people was like, hey, it's this whole thing hard. And I like the friend that told me that gave me the that was like, do not make her mad. He said it was really hard for him, that transition. Yeah. I'm not saying it was easy, but it was a lot easier than the stories I've heard. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if that had something to do, or if I was just, my son was a good baby and stuff like that. And it's I mean, so far, but I definitely feel like the people that I hang out with definitely
it changed.
Has something to do with it.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, I think the way that who you surround yourself with is your biggest influence, and it's the shift. And I don't think it was ever a bad thing. I think I just wondered like where did that shift come from, and it was just that.
Well, I think I mean you know most of the like you know Javier, you know that you know how he is. He's like have fun, but it's time to clock in. It's time to clock in, and that's it. You know, whereas like other people, it's like I'm having fun. I gotta clock in. Hey, I'll make up an excuse and go do something else. Yeah. You know, and it was like, do that or actually when it's like somebody needs me, do that. Yeah. And I feel like that's why also it was easier on the shift at work. Mm-hmm. Because it was like
I was already reprioritizing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And I'm glad you got there, because that was one of the things is when I found out you're gonna have a kid, I just thought, well, the person out of everybody that I know that's most ready for that is you. So it was like, it worked out, I think. Because if it was anybody else, I'd be like, man, what are they going to do? But even then, it was just because you're young. I was like, man, what are you going to do? But beyond that, I was like, well, he'll figure it out, because he seems like a stable person.
Well,
like even me, I wouldn't get to that level yet. I don't know.
Well, I would say yes and no, because if I was in that path that I told you where my friends went, or the friends that I hanged out with at the time went, and the baby came along, I would have, because if everything hit me the same, where I was like, I wasn't expecting, I wasn't excited, I was in this till they happened, then it would have been like, well, what now? Yeah. But I feel like the fact that it was like, well, I know what my priorities are, I know how to handle my time and all that. And this hit me like that, then it was like, all right, I know how to shift things to make it work.
Because eventually you did want to have a kid. Like, it wasn't like you never wanted to have kids.
Yeah, well, actually,
was that a thing?
For the most part, I didn't.
Wow.
I don't want kids.
Yeah.
Now I want more.
Now you want more.
No, I don't.
You don't?
I just had to say that because my wife told me to say it.
That's funny.
No, but no, at some point I didn't want kids.
Yeah.
And then the idea, not the idea, but the Mateo came along.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, maybe just one. Yeah. And then talking to people that have had kids, they're like, you're really going to have an only child.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things.
And that's like,
I mean, yeah, as an only child. So.
Well, I mean, that's what he's a tech. No, but it's like, I don't know. It's like a lot of people, like, not saying that everybody's like, oh, you're an only child, like that sucks, you know. But a lot of people are like, really, you should give him somebody to have fun with and stuff like that.
But you have a big family already, like. You have your side of the family, but Jasmine's family is pretty big too. Right?
It is pretty big.
Yeah,
and they have a lot of kids too, so that might be my excuse.
I'm not trying to give you the excuse. I'm just saying
I'm gonna blame it on you now. I'm knocking on the door.
You heard what Cesar said.
No, but yeah. At some point, it was like no kids. Then obviously, it's like, well, if he's here, he's here. Like we gotta adapt.
Yeah. And that's. I think it's for the best. I mean, we needed it. I feel like even though, I mean, obviously we can't see each other as often.
Yeah.
It's like, it's still like a good, like, it just feels good to know that somebody like you is growing and having this from afar, you know?
Well, I feel like everybody started to kind of move in and grow in a certain way. Yeah. Because that's when you're like, hey, I'm in my own place now. Yeah. I'm doing my own thing. It's like, well, that's good. And it's like this happening. Now,
we really shook up the family.
That's when my sister then went to college. Yeah. So it's then Paola went to get her master's. Andrea transferring. So definitely a lot of crazy things happened.
Yeah, the last 2 years. 2019 was a really big shift.
And then this hit us.
And then this, and now it's like we're all going through whatever this is, however long this is. So marriage. So you got married last September, you said, right? That was because I remember I was there. So I remember the date exactly. Was it September?
September 6th.
September 6th.
Oh, yeah, I'll remember that. Especially if I'm on camera and she's watching. I better know that. No, September 6th.
Yeah. So the you know, how's marriage? What's the hardest part about marriage?
I think when you start getting comfortable. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like once you start getting comfortable and you start losing those little, especially with the baby. Mm-hmm. Like I said, you got to manage the time, and it's like, all right, well, I need a time for this, a time for work, a time for this, a time for that, right? Mm-hmm. So but then with everything going on, it's easier to forget about the time for you guys than anything else, you know, because the baby is there. And he's going to tell you, I need time. Mm-hmm. Like the baby's not going to be like, all right, well, I'm not going to tell you. He's going to be noticeable, you know? Yeah. Work calls. Yeah. You know, work's always going to call. You're going to need time. And then obviously you need your own time. Yeah. And it's like, all right, well, that doesn't need to come because you decide that, you know? Yeah. But it's that easy. It's like, all right, well, let's take an hour of the day and just enjoy you and me. Obviously, it's a little hard for the baby. So I think that's where being married with the baby was kind of hard because it was like, hey, this for the baby. I gotta go to work. Yeah. Hey, next time I'm gonna go hang out with my friends or do something, you know. Yeah. And on the other hand, she's like, okay. And then I'm not saying it's just a one party fault, but it's, you know. On the other hand, it could be like, all right, well, I'm gonna work, watch the baby. Could you watch the baby? I'm gonna go get my nails done. Mm-hmm. Cool. Next thing you know, you guys come back and it's like, all right, well, it's 11 o'clock. He's asleep. I'll go to sleep. Yeah. And it's just, I think
you never hung out with each other.
Exactly. I mean, even though we're there every day, we live together and all, it's just that like, I don't know, those even 30 minutes of like, hey, you're cooking something, let me help you. Let's do something together, you know? Mm-hmm. I feel like that was hard for me, but that's the good thing that it's like, it's not like arguments or anything. It's just that when you start realizing, it's like, hey, when was the last time we like, I mean, right now it's a little hard, but it's like we went to dinner. Yeah. You know, and stuff like that. And it's like you start thinking, it's like, yeah. And it's like, especially now, it's a little harder because it's like, what could you do? You know, it's like, well, you can't go take the kid out and do something. You can walk around, and it's like, I mean, so what we're trying to do is like, hey, let's at least try to go walk 30 minutes. And then you start talking about random stuff. And
but at least you're connecting with the person.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's that, I think it's like right now you say connecting. It's losing that connection where it's not like, well, I lost feelings or anything, but it's just, well, this is what we were. This is what got us here.
Yeah.
And that's, you know? So it's that, and it's not like I said, it's like somebody tried to do it. It's like, well, I could either have the option to do this with my wife or take a nap. No, it was just like, it was almost like we're going through a day, and it's more, especially right now, it's more of a routine, because you can't do so many things, that it's like, it's a routine that it's like your mind doesn't really, it's like it's on autopilot, you know? And it's like you're not even thinking of new things to do, because you're like, all right, well, this is my day off. I usually do this on my days off. Now I got to go home, take care of the kid, work the next day, and then you repeat that for a few days and that day off. So it was like that for both of us. And then now it's like, then it was a time where it's like, you know what? It's like, we need to start doing stuff for ourselves. And I think that was the hardest part, because it's almost like you didn't see it. You know, it's like just all of a sudden, it's like, damn, it's been X amount of months, and it's like,
we haven't done anything.
When was the last time, you know? And I mean, I'm sure it happens with everybody, because it's the fact that it's like, well, I'm comfortable with this person, you know?
Yeah, and that's exactly, can relate to that. That's exactly how it feels sometimes, where it's like, you don't really think about, oh, I need to take this person on a date, because it's like, well, you're always there.
Exactly.
And then that's when you can lose, not that it's happened for me or you, but it's like, you can lose a spark if the person, you're not connecting with them.
Yeah. And then that's what I always, that's one thing. It's like when me and her realize it, then I start sending, messages between us, because it's like at some point I think last time we were here on the Rodriguez show, one of the questions you asked us.
Oh, yeah, that was Valentine's Day. Yeah, that was last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple.
You asked us who was the person that you text a lot or last tested. And it was each other's good friends, you know? And so now it's like we're texting a lot, you know, when we're away. I mean, as much as we can. Yeah. And our things like, oh, you're like being sweet. You're doing this. And our motto is like just trying to spark it up. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Just trying to spark it up, not saying that it's not, but not letting it die completely. Exactly. And because it's definitely something that it's like you're not constantly thinking, because there's so much things going on both of your plate, her plate, you know. And it's like just the fact that it's like some point you're like, well, damn, like when was the last time we went out? When was the last time I got you something, you know? And it's just that little thing. And that's when it's like the little things matter. And that's when you actually start understanding. It's like, damn, like that's so true. Yeah.
But one of the things that I ask a lot of people on the show, everybody, I think, is an experience that changed your perspective in life, something that happened to you where you're like, oh shit. And obviously this entire episode has been life-changing experiences, but you know, this one's because, you know, traditionally. So what do you got?
Well, it was kind of a weird one with it involved everything going on right now. Yeah. Everything, all the protests, just everything, you know. And then you start like looking at people and kind of judging them. And I always thought or said to myself, I'm not that person. I don't typically judge somebody. Just by looking at judge a book by its cover, you know. One day in particular, I was at work, and this woman came in, and by her body language and the way she looked, the way she was walking, I was like, hey, this might be a tough one. So she comes in, start helping her out, and then she's walking out. She's like, hey, I hope nobody gives you a hard time, and everybody wears their mask. And that was kind of weird, because all throughout the whole transaction where she comes in and everything, it was just small talk. You know, like, hey, how's it going? This and that. And then when she said that, it was kind of weird. I was like, oh, that kind of made me talk a little more. And it was like, oh, like, no, everything's been fine ever since this change. And, you know, just kid you not, this woman stayed there for about an hour and just started talking to me. And it was more of her talking to me about her past and how she's changed. How she was telling me, like, because this is when the whole riots and all that was going on here. And she started telling me about, like, her dad and how when this happened back in the day in LA, her dad was one of the ones that was opposed black people, African American. And she was like, yeah, and at some point in my life, I said, all lives matter. And she's like, but the good thing is that I changed. And then that's when I started realizing the moment she stepped away, because that's the last time she said, it's like, yeah, like at some point I did say lives matter, but I changed and I'm able to show my kids what's better and give them a better view of things, you know? That's the last thing she said. And that kind of stuck with me. So then I'm thinking, I'm like, you know, it's so weird. I like saw this lady come in and I'm a person that doesn't typically or try not to, or I would say I wouldn't judge people, you know? And I did. And I felt bad. And I thought this was going to be, because I said this is going to be a bad one. It's going to be a hard customer to handle. She was actually really nice and a lot better than I expected. So then I started thinking, imagine how many people actually judge other people and turn out to be the opposite. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So it's like, and it could be a thing where it's like, I'm judging somebody and I'm giving them attitude, but I'm just judging based on what I see. Yeah, babe, because you thought you were going to get that. And they might be on the same boat as I am. Yeah. So then that's when I was like, you know what? It's like, now every time I see and I like say, oh, it's going to be a bad one, or damn, this guy's really doing this, I'm just going to step back and just tell myself, basically hold up. Yeah. Wait, you don't know anything about this person. You don't, you know? And yeah, it's what they say. Don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah. That lady has been coming every week. What? Just to talk. Yeah. And it's like, damn, somebody that I could potentially been like, this is going to be a hard one. And if she didn't choose to say the comment she made, like this lady would have never came back. And now she knows me by name, comes in all the time. She's really nice. So it's like, damn, that's when it's like, this lady basically, I mean, she's a customer, but now I could say she's like, I know her, you know? And that's how friendships start. Yeah. It's like, who knows? She keeps coming. I could say, hey, like, I'm going to know her. I'm going to go know her by name and stuff like that. She might be a friend. Yeah. But now I start thinking, imagining how many friendships or start of friendships are lost because of that. Yeah. Because of the prejudgment that you don't. Yeah. And it's like, well, if that wouldn't happen, everything would be fine. Well, I'm not saying everything, but it's like, just imagine how many troubles would be avoided. Yeah. And that's something that it's like, ever since that happened, it was like, you know what? Every time I catch myself judging somebody, step back. Like, you're nobody to judge them. Yeah. And then 2, why am I doing it? Because they might end up being the same way I am. Yeah. And for the most part, they are. Wow. And that's yeah, that's why, like, and especially it changed my way with customers. Yeah. Because usually if you're kind of able to sense a bad customer. You know? So when a customer comes in and you sense a bad one, before I would be really plain. Like, hey, how are you doing? How can I help you? That's it. Usually if it's any other, hey, how's your day going? What are you guys up to? Like more talkative, you know? So now every single time I come in, I just try to do my part and be like, you know what? Be the same way to everybody. Yeah. And honestly, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of more factors that go into it. But ever since I started doing that, I noticed my days at work just being a lot better. Yeah. And going by faster. So it's like, hey, this Nancy, and all it took her one little comment. And she was there for an hour after that. Yeah. And it took me analyzing that conversation 5 minutes maybe. Yeah. And now every day at work is a lot better. Or every encounterment with somebody new is a lot better. Yeah. Damn. Wow. Yeah. I guess if we all just took time to like think about stuff like that, it would really change our perspective, and it would be a lot easier. Well, I don't know. I can't think of a better way to wrap it up other than that, man. That was a really positive message. So thank you for doing this, man. No, really thanks for having me. And actually, I have a little something for you. Oh, that's why you came in with the bag. I was like, you gotta open it on camera. All right, I'll reach over with my mask on. So I'll hold the mask. Thank you. Right, I have a little bag here. I'm opening it right here.
From JNS Custom Crafts. I know. Shout out to JNS Custom Crafts. I'm gonna have to rip this up because I'm excited. Oh shit! Water bottle. Oh, that's the logo. Oh my god, that's crazy. This is crazy. Look at this. This is let me make sure it's on camera correctly. It's a Rodriguez Show logo water bottle from JNS Custom Crafts. Can I tell you a story about this? So this is crazy because I was thinking about getting this exact thing.
Oh, really?
I looked at this and I was like, wouldn't this logo be cool? And I didn't tell anybody, and then you did it. So
because that's the
old logo,
like
but we use it.
Like
we still use it.
You could say the classic, the old school logo.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So I wanted to take it back because I think that's after it started, that's the one you would switch to, because you used to have just letters and then you went to that, right?
Yeah, this is our first logo. Yeah. So damn, this is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you want to buy one, you can buy one from them. JNS Custom. I'll put the thing right here. I'll make a note. You should buy one. I'll send you the logo, and then you have it already. So just make another one. Thank you so much. This is awesome, man. Wow. Check out JNS Custom Crafts, and I really appreciate it. So before we go, we do always mention charity, and Ricardo suggested that we donate to the ONI Foundation, the Osborne Head and Neck Foundation. They are part of a network of kindness that extends across the world and improves the lives of thousands through ear, nose, and throat surgical care. We believe access to patient service and a network of compassion care is a human right no matter who you are and where you live. With the help of supporters like you, we focus on humanitarian efforts that build strong communities and save lives. So that's the Osborne Head and Neck Foundation, and you can donate to them at onifoundation.com, OHNI Foundation, and I'll also put that on across the screen as well. Thank you, man.
No, yeah.
Thank you for the gift. Thank you for being on the show, and
thanks for having me.
When our kids watch this years from now, when they discover that we had all this cool stuff, you'll be like, this is a good representation of who you are now.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, stay safe out there. Keep it funky. Keep it fresh. Keep it sexy. And we out.